What is the potential best outcome if I don't buy a car now? And 4, what is the potential worst outcome if I don't buy a car now? Some decisions are not always good or bad. Some decisions will have good, better, or best outcomes. Those are the kinds of choices that require more dependence on sacrifice. Always consider what you'll be sacrificing to have or not have right now. To have sufficient power to produce the life you desire, you may have to sacrifice all or some things. In my odyssey toward exceptional leadership, I mastered sacrifice. When I decided to break the silence of childhood abuse many years ago, I sacrificed possible rejection, humiliation, friends, and even family relationships. I've sacrificed my own desires for the sake of an employer, an organization, even my church and family. Here's the thing. Those sacrifices have not weakened me. They have empowered me. I have not lost who I am. I have found who I am. Sacrifice enables you to grow and become who you are destined to be. District leadership. On July 1st, 2010, I began serving as one of the top 3 leaders in Toastmasters International in Western Washington. I was the 3rd-ranked officer of roughly 3,500 members as the Lieutenant Governor Marketing for District 2. 1 year later, I moved up a seat and served as a Lieutenant Governor Education and Training. By July 1st, 2012, I was the head honcho, the big cheese, the lady in charge of District 2. I was the district governor. Yikes! I thought I had been working hard the 2 previous years, but I was about to discover what busy really meant. Because I never do anything less than 100%, I charged in full speed and set out to motivate and lead a team of about 75 volunteers in this very large organization. That's only half the story, though. The earlier half began in 2009 when my husband had to close his architectural firm of 14 years. At its peak, the firm consisted of 4 partners and 20 employees, billing $2.2 million a year. By the time it closed, 2 of the partners had jumped ship, and there were 6 employees left. My husband sacrificed months of his own salary so he could pay his employees. We sacrificed our life savings to keep the business afloat. We ended up getting behind in our house payments, and we couldn't afford to make minor repairs. In 2010, just 1 month after I began my 4-year commitment to District 2 and Toastmasters International, my husband and I declared bankruptcy. We were losing our home to foreclosure. From the beginning of my term as Lieutenant Governor Marketing, I had had many sleepless nights of worry. It was a high-pressure job, but it was part of my odyssey to self, and I wanted to fulfill my responsibility. On a sleepless night in November of 2010, just after our bankruptcy was final, I was working on the computer at 4 a.m. I heard noises in the driveway and saw flashing lights through the stained glass window on the front door. I ran to the door and looked outside. A tow truck was preparing to take my car away. I had never had anything repossessed before. My heart fell into my stomach. "They're taking my car!" I yelled upstairs to my sleeping husband. The tow truck driver allowed me to get my personal belongings out of the car before he took it. I was very grateful for his kindness. It certainly wasn't expected. Back inside the house, I laid on the couch and cried. I wasn't sad about the repossession specifically. I was just sad about more loss. We'd already lost so much. I had to quickly get over my sadness. I had a meeting that morning. A new Toastmaster Club was forming, and it was my responsibility to see that it happened. No one would have faulted me if I decided to stay home and mope, but I would have faulted myself. What positive outcome could there be from moping around at home while ignoring my responsibilities? None. I borrowed my husband's truck and fulfilled my responsibilities, telling no one at the meeting what had happened that morning. I sacrificed my feelings to ensure the job was done. We only told a few friends about our financial plight. Our long-term friend Gary stepped up to help big time. He gave me a car he wasn't using. Seriously, he gave me a car just a few days after mine had been repossessed. Blessings were and are countless. I can never repay Gary for his kindness. I'm confident that he'll be blessed for his sacrifice. A month later, on December 27th, my husband's truck was also repossessed. By the beginning of 2011, the bank had not yet forced us out of our home, even though we had not made a mortgage payment for more than a year. We knew what the inevitable outcome would be, but we had such bad credit at this point. We could not have rented a home if a potential landlord did a credit check. We had to stay in our home as long as possible. My husband had not found a job in almost 2 years now, and I was trying to work at my business the best I could. My husband's former business partner, David, owned a second home, which he'd rented to the same tenant for several years. David's tenant needed to move in January. The home would be vacant. Also, David was doing some architectural work with which he needed help. Blessings. David let us move into his rental home. He knew our situation and did not require a credit check. He also had work that my husband could do that would likely cover the rent and provide a little income as well. In February, during the busiest time for Lieutenant Governor marketing, we moved from the home we thought would be the home we'd live in for the rest of our lives into a house in a neighborhood we would have never chosen to live. Our new home was half the size of the one we'd lived in for 8 years. We tried to sell our antique furniture and other belongings. We ended up giving most items away. But we were thankful we were able to make a move ahead of the bank. It was nice to feel even just a little control. During the months preceding our move and for months after our move, there were days when I just wanted to stay curled up in bed and let the time tick away. I was so overwhelmed with merely surviving that I was not sure in which direction to take a step. I was without faith. I was without hope. I couldn't see a future, and that made planning more than a day in advance a constant challenge. But I was keenly aware of my responsibilities. I knew what Toastmasters members, clients, and others were expecting of me. I could not let them down. If it were not for my responsibilities, I would have just stayed curled up in bed. It was the service and the sacrifice for others that kept me going through some of the hardest times of my life. Sacrifice is powerful. Service to others is the cure for faithlessness and hopelessness. Sacrifice of all things has power sufficient enough to produce the faith necessary unto life. I sacrificed a lot for leadership so I could diligently keep my commitments. Nevertheless, I'm not complaining because I'm very glad I took on the challenge to lead in the Toastmasters organization. I don't believe I would have had the opportunity to learn the leadership lessons I did any other way. I had the chance to be the CEO of an organization of 3,500 plus, quote, employees. Wow! Did I mention that every minute of it was voluntary? I was never paid a salary. With all the sacrifice necessary to lead District 2, I never sacrificed my integrity, my religious beliefs, or my self-respect. Nor did I ever compromise on the goals I set out to accomplish. I did not meet all the benchmarks I wanted to as district governor, but I left District 2 better and stronger than when it was put in my charge. I'm happy with that. I'm so thankful for the blessings I received. I was disciplined, dependable, and available. The sacrifices I made gave me the capacity to influence others to achieve worthwhile results. Is it any wonder why I believe that sacrifice is an important trait to possess? Sacrifice is the very trait that allowed me to progress in my odyssey toward exceptional leadership. I have always felt that the most successful, powerful, and likable leaders are those who are selfless. But for the purposes of this book and your odyssey of leadership, I am suggesting that exceptional leaders are selfish. You can't be selfless and be influential leaders. Sacrifice, empowerment, love, and friendship are required. Sacrifice is never easy. That's the point. To become exceptional is worth the hardship. It's worth the challenges. No one can be exceptional without challenges and hardships. Be grateful for the ability to sacrifice. It's an indication that you have something to give. The act of sacrifice will allow you to discover your worth. That alone is exceptional. The following story is an example of a day that may seem typical for many of us. Some of the situations portrayed may not apply to you, but the emotions illustrated likely will. Practical application. You rise at 6 a.m. on Monday. You work from home in your consulting business. The week is fully scheduled, and you repeat in your mind the chores and errands that need to be completed. You throw in a load of laundry and then spend about 10 minutes on one chapter of the novel you're currently reading. With your workout clothes on, you head out for a run. 30 minutes later, you put the first load of laundry into the dryer and start load number 2. In the kitchen, you make a quick breakfast smoothie, feed the dog, and watch just 10 minutes of the morning news. You hop in the shower. 30 minutes later, you take the first load of laundry from the dryer, load the dryer with the second load, and fold the first load. Finally, you start at the computer in your office to send out several emails to team members with questions, tasks to do, and instructions. You notice several email replies. Questions and requests come at you. Action needed urgently from Larry. Rather than send the emails you needed to send, you must first put out a fire. Your search begins for a document used several months ago and now needed by Larry. Your phone rings. Sharon needs help with one of her tasks today. You are the only one to help. It will take a few hours to do. Okay. 2 hours later, you're back at your computer. You begin working on a marketing piece for your business. Oh, wait. I need to find that document for Larry. Several minutes later, found. Reworked. Sent. Back to your stuff. A text from Sam reads, quote, "Hey, need to talk. Get something to eat?" Lunch already? Jeez. Time spent with Sam is productive, but time-consuming. Your ideas have provided clarity for him. He's ready to put them into action. Back at your desk, your half-completed marketing project still sits on your desktop. Let me just get a few more emails out, you think to yourself. Just then, a smartphone alarm rings. Yikes! Conference call in 10 minutes. You quickly gather the necessary documents and materials needed to lead your team through a scheduled meeting. 90 minutes later, you are exhausted and mentally spent. But you are scheduled to take dinner to your friend Donna, who just had a baby. You committed to doing this last week. Ugh! 1 hour later, the lasagna is in the oven. It will be ready to deliver at the scheduled time on your way out to meet some friends for a late dinner. While the lasagna bakes, you get back to your computer. You send out a few of the emails so necessary to send that morning. You're on a roll. Then a familiar sound comes from down the hall. Yep, by the time you make it to the source of the sound, it's too late. You spend about 20 minutes cleaning up dog vomit from the carpet. As you complete vomit cleanup, you decide it's a good time to check the lasagna. What? Is the oven not working? It's working fine. You just forgot to turn it on. Son of a gun! You turn the oven on, and now realizing that dinner will be late getting to Donna, you send her a text letting her know. You also send a text to a few of the friends you were going to meet, letting them know you'll be there when you can. A few more emails go out while the lasagna bakes, this time for real. The subject line to an incoming email reads, "Urgent, reply needed." You take a deep breath and open the email. Roy, a coaching client, needs your feedback on his presentation due in 1 hour. You pick up the phone and talk Roy down from his panicked state. He's going to do a great job tonight. Would be nice to be there, but yikes! Lasagna! Almost 45 minutes late, you deliver lasagna, salad, and rolls to Donna, the new mommy. But your hope of just dropping the food off doesn't work out so well. She is exhausted. The baby is fussing. Her husband is not yet home, and the older child is hungry and in need of attention. You spend time getting dinner on plates for Donna and her child. While they eat at the dining table, you try to soothe the baby with pats, rocking, and anything that will work. An hour later, the dishes are done. Donna feels better, the baby is asleep, and the 4-year-old is bathed and in pajamas. Then Daddy comes home. All appear ready for a better night, at least when compared to the day they've had. Looking at your watch, you are frustrated